technology like AI. I'm saying that. So I can say that like a AI now become a like a brain, and the sustainability will be the heart, and then the SDGs are giving us the direction how to run the overall manufacturing show. So this is now well defined procedure for all of us if we are focused on that.
Hi everyone, this is Vivek Shrivastava. Welcome to my channel. And today we have for you Mr. Sudhir Mehani, who is the Chief Digital Officer at Marzoli India. And Sudhir has had 2 decades experience in telecom and 2 decades experience in manufacturing. And Sudhir is an expert in the world of high tech manufacturing as well as integrating digital with manufacturing. And today I'm really happy that he's here because we're going to speak about a very key topic, particularly in these turbulent geopolitical times. We're going to talk about manufacturing and how emerging countries, specifically India, can improve their manufacturing and become manufacturing powerhouse. So thank you for joining us, Sudhir. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me how did it get started for you? Did you whiz in the world of manufacturing, or how did your careers sort of start and you got into all of this?
Exactly. It's a very interesting question, because it was always into my brain how I have to turn and the things into the practical. We can get the benefit from the all the technology what we are using. I think I have I started with the manufacturing, and I understood the concepts of like how manufacturing excellence can come manually in the mode of like in the first decade, how it has to be done. So understood the concept of manufacturing, and then I see that the telecom is booming in that direction. So like I understood the telecom scenario as well. And immediately, what are the things were there? I learned from Koshika Telecom, and the Airtel is the main platform where we have contributed a lot, and we really understood the concept on how telecom scenarios should be set up.
You know,
And
I worked at AT&T for 1 year myself, so
oh,
I'm a little bit familiar with that. But I was more on the sort of project management, software project management side. What did you do in telecom and Airtel, for example? Like, were you?
yeah, in Airtel, like, what we were doing, we were we were giving the platform to the customers for the to make the calls. Like you see that in the setup of like we have a master switching center, and then the base station controller and the base transmitter stations also there. So we interact with the technical department. I was playing the role of a IT, how I can leverage the customer to make a comfortable call and billing on time every month. So there should not be any problem into the like, whatever they have called, and they should be billed accordingly for that. So I was giving that support of IT to the technical GSM department, and then we will take as a together we were creating for that. So that was a very interesting platform. So telecom was running into my blood for the 10 to 12 years. When I started this, it was a very exciting journey for me. And then when I saw that, like, when I stepped into IBM, I got a more exposure towards the manufacturing and the telecom together, how we can leverage the network together into the manufacturing section to make the more proficiency. But when we step into the manufacturing for the automation, we saw that AI and the digital scenario is coming. So that tax we now pick up that company, which is giving a scenario on the AI adoption and digital transformation. So from Ericsson, I no, from IBM, I went to Ericsson. Ericsson, I gone to the depth of the telecom, and plus I understood the wherever the application we can use for the digital and the industry 4.0 we can implement. That triggers me to again jump into the manufacturing, and for the last now 7 years, I am into the manufacturing now, and it is really like good potential over there. Most of the users are getting benefited now, health of the machine and the production of the machine. That is helping with this new technology.
40 years, my father was head of manufacturing for Voltas in Thane. Like they had
Oh,
the major plant was in Thane those days. Now it's moved to some union territory for tax reasons. But back then, and he was the head of manufacturing of Voltas. And so 40 years ago, I saw for in first time in my life a CNC machine in action.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
at the
okay.
Thani plant there, then it was.
Okay,
It,
okay.
so I think the CNC machine, you put one thing there and it would copy it, and sort of it had its own scripting language and whatnot. There was,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
interesting thing, but so I saw that. Now I'm curious, what is Industry 4.0? I mean, what does that mean exactly?
When manufacturing started, it started with a 1.0. The 1.0 was like water and steam technology. You must have heard about like,
Okay.
all the steam engine was working and the all mechanical machines are working.
Right.
And when they see the problem of a production, it's not giving the production as we expect. They stepped into industry 4.0. So basically, they bring the concept of a electrical assembly into that. So they were doing the mass production on the conveyor line. Then they call it the industry 2.0 scenario.
Okay.
And whatever they were doing on the industry 2.0, then they thought that okay, how we can do at a mass scale across the same segment. And then they introduced the concept of it, like an internet concept was coming. And then everybody was sharing the knowledge. Like I am producing something, I'm sharing the knowledge with somebody else. He's also coming at par to increase the production for that. So then they understood the concept of a mass assembly in the industry 2.0 and industry 3.0. Then they thought of like how we can bring up the concept of a bringing them how machine can talk to machine. Like humans are sharing the knowledge now over the internet. We have a platform. Now we need a machine should talk to machine. How they can help. So then they call this scenario as a industry 4.0, in which they have brought the concept of a digital and AI adoption, AI agents adoption. So that is a scenario it's going on now. They are using the robot for the basically repetitive work only. And but now if you say that na, in the after industry 5.0, still we are learning on the industry 4.0 and we are trying to implement. Now bird is now knocking the door of industry 5.0 also.
Yes, my next question was going to be what all will be incorporated in manufacturing 5.0?
Yeah, industry 5.0 is now going to now work in the scenario of how human and machine can work together.
Okay.
So, when basically previously we were calling it as a robot will be supporting the repetitive task. Now the approach will be a cobot. Cobot will be like how human and machines can work together to bring the more efficiency to the platform. So,
Wow.
if, industry 5.0 is a now a mix of using of AI technology and human and now wherever the repetitive tasks are there, how it can be done by the robots over there, how human can, because certainly everything cannot be done by robots. Human intelligence is always there. So it has to be whatever we think. We are now trying to make machine like think like us only. So when you now AI is now becoming like a brain now for that whatever he is now whatever the AI is reading the data from our experiences. Now it is a benefit now on the induction of a after the AI now AJ is there, artificial general intelligence. Now it is helping the users to whatever the data is there on the basis of data, it is bringing that decision automatically, and it is also giving us a hint to think more like whatever is the input you have given, you can think in that direction also. So that is a benefit now. That's why AI is getting popular now.
I'm curious as of right now, today's date, what is more advanced, AI or the robots? I personally think possibly AI is more advanced than the mechanics of the robots.
Correct. No, I think AI is a platform because now which everybody is now working on that. No, basically it is whatever the data you are doing. Because robots, the way you have asked now, robot is also working on the algorithm, what you have written, what data you have given, what action to be taken for this input. So basically, we are giving the data. So AI is enabling you as a brain to collect the data, read the pattern, and take the decisions. Naturally, AI is the latest platform. Now, the more advanced stage now, which we are going to see now in the coming days, there will be assistants now. AI agents are coming, like service assistant will be there, production assistant will be there, CRM assistant will be there. So whatever the things as per the data pattern, it will be like a FAQ you are preparing for any operation. It will be fed into that particular algorithm. Based on that, these agents will be working on the floors. Like like I told you, production assistant, service assistant, they will be entertaining the customer queries, and they will be taking and they will be feeding the input to the overall supply chain into the manufacturing. Then the output will be coming in that scenario as per the requirement only. So naturally, AI is the more focus now. Robot is the enabler for that.
I'd like to ask you now about India. Where is India in all of this? And I think the one unique thing about India is, it varies a lot. Like, for example, in say Bombay area or any of the major cities, probably latest technologies and all are in place. But in smaller towns, it'll be probably much like a lower level of technology. So I guess it's hard to put a number on that for India as opposed to say countries like US or UK where entire country it's all the same, if it's all manufacturing for. So where is India in all this?
Having a focus on the manufacturing, I think you are into the now, and that's the heart of the manufacturing now. So I will be more happy to whatever I experience now. As per my experience now, like now, whatever the manufacturing now, as a India, we are contributing to the total world. I think still we have to improve a lot in terms of like automation and the digitalization. If you say that, because I'm continuously reader of the like now all the manufacturing like data also what every country is doing. So based on that data, like from Infi and the Reuters, I have seen that we are standing at like the 3% of the global manufacturing at the moment.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, so only 3%. So now, if you see that, like in our competition, if you say that some of the lessons we have to take from China also, like no, they have developed so many things, and we have a clarity, and now we can also move forward in that direction. But still, we have to do a lot of things in the manufacturing, and this is sure. India has a scale and the skill, and we have a good young generation is coming with us, and lot of young graduates which are coming into the scenario, and the kind of infrastructure now government is creating. I think in the coming years we will be at the moment we are standing at fifth in the economic scale as India. So whatever our Prime Minister Modi has targeted for that, I think there nothing is stopping us to come at the level of three.
Yes.
So we have a good infrastructure already into the direction of how we can move forward. That only thing we have to catch up the speed.
You mentioned China, and I wanted to ask that also. In the last 30 years, China has gone from, basically nothing to being the world's premier manufacturing powerhouse, really. So what did they do? What did they do right?
Early adoption, what they have done, basically they picked up the requirement in how they can, they start the task with the automation, how we can repetitive task, we can reduce the time, how we can reduce the overall cycle time in production. So most of the things like now whatever they have done, they have scaled the infrastructure accordingly, and they have given the incentives accordingly. That was their growth engine. What we can learn from them. They never keep themselves behind and thinking about like tomorrow. If this is a target, let's do it today. So heavy investments, they are doing it very regularly. They have a particular scenario for that, and they are producing for that. And like single window clearance also, it is also helping them a lot. And whatever the things they are automating, exactly it is mapping to the customer requirement. And like I said earlier, speed is the main thing, like which they are not wasting their time, and they understood the concept, and they are putting the exact skill over there. So that we have some other strengths, they have some other strengths, but now we have a better advantage.
Yes.
Because you see that government has now created a very good infrastructure for us. Global capability centers are there already. Now the 1800 global capability centers are established. We have a target to complete 5000 global capability center by the end of 2030.
What exactly is a global capability center?
Yeah, this is a very a good initiative which government has taken. Basically, now government is setting up a infrastructure for the MNC and creating the all the facilities to that scenario. Like you, if you want to operate, if you are in, they are inviting all the MNC to operate from for their operations. They can approach GCC. They have a plug-in infrastructure like this. They have a good customer care center over there. They have a good data centers over there. and then good networking is there. So all these security cells are there. So they have created a infrastructure for the MNC to use plug and play infrastructure. So that is the setup they have created. I take example of like textile manufacturing. I think they are now, textile, they are aiming for a major player into the global world. They have created a PM Mitra mark. That is basically a Prime Minister mega industrial technology park, like, a mega industry regions. Whatever the things they have created, there are 7 PM Mitra mark, and now every textile sector is now trying to set up from fiber to fashion.
Okay.
So this is the way now, because we are a good strength into the automotive components, textiles, pharma, chemicals, like steel, all these renewable energy are now also coming up. So these are the sectors which we can excel into that. GCC is basically inviting the MNC to use our infrastructure as a plug and play and provide the service to the overall global. So it is basically now it is giving you a data security also, and your data console, what they have created for that, your data is secured, your customer response is also on time. So that is the concept of a GCC into India.
So you mentioned, things like textiles, pharma, automotive parts. So these are the areas where India is already strong in. But
Very slow.
I think it's mostly demand supply strong. Means countries buy from India, all of these. But is our manufacturing up to the mark? Are these in these areas that we are strong? Is the manufacturing also cutting edge manufacturing 4.0? Is that happening or no?
Yeah, I think basically now at the moment, you are very correct. I must appreciate that. In the manufacturing domain, we have a concept very well defined, and we know where we have to go. But at the moment, we are very low in the automation and the digital adoption. So that is the first thing which we have to adopt. And at the moment, we have a fragmented supply chains that we have to improve on that. Or no, these are two factors: digital adaptation and your automation. These can help to grow faster. And how you operate into the manufacturing industry. There's a famous tool log, basically a manufacturing execution system. MES is there. So MES is a platform which is enabling both the two factors, like digital adaptation and the overall how you have to run the manufacturing show. And there are well-defined standards are also there where we have to improve on that. So, in nutshell, if I have to say that, how we can come up to the global level of leader into this manufacturing, I think we have to fill up the gap in the infrastructure, logistics, and the energy efficiency. So we can excel in that direction. So digital adoption is I think we are now on the right track. Only the thing that which I told you in the first question also, speed and scale we have to do.
How would a company do that though? Speed and scale. In the sense, let me give you an example. Let's say I have a manufacturing plant. I'm manufacturing automotive parts, right? But to upscale to that, I need money, right? I mean, I need to buy the new equipment, the computers, there's that software, whatever, and then I'll be able to make the technological jump from say 3.0 to 4.0. And I don't have that money. It's beyond my capacity to do that. Then what do I do in that?
This is presently the challenge that is manufacturing industry. So a lot of startups have been initiated by the governments also. So they are giving the leverage to all the young entrepreneurs to do that. Overall budget allocation for the particular area, or a manufacturer want to invest something, if he has a clarity on the product what he has to do. But now, having said that, you are having a overall clarity on the what you have to produce, go into the small steps like this. Like now, basically, if you want to start in a big way, take any example, textile. If you want yarn manufacturers are there, so they call it a spinning mill. So from a spinning, you can go to the weaving also, and then the fashion industry, clothing also, fabric also. So you can go into the chain. So go into a fragmented place, like small places, and then reach at the goal for that. Because government is now giving a number of schemes for that. Like I have told you, like a PLI scheme is there, and Gati Shakti scheme is there. So entrepreneur can plan the projects and go in a small steps, which government is also supporting through these schemes. Like these are very good schemes, like which where I always tell to my all the counterparts in the manufacturer, so they can choose for a PLI, PM Gati Shakti, and PM Mitra parks. They can use these facilities and then they can start this. But naturally, like a budget, they have to look for a map. But government is also supporting that. Those who are innovative, I think we are getting a good support from the present government, and they are promoting every manufacturer to come up with the good ideas which can bring them to a higher level of the global ranking.
That's great that the government's doing that. But, I think, and my first job out of college, I was into a little bit into the manufacturing side myself, even though afterwards I got into software. I studied in college, I studied semiconductors, electronics engineering, specializing in semiconductors. So I know by college training how to make CPU chips out of silicon. That is my, and I first 3 years of my career, I worked in a company in Silicon Valley in the USA, and worked in that area. And even though I wasn't that much in the manufacturing part of it, I was more what they called a product engineer, which basically looked at all the data from start to finish and just kind of ticked key. Okay, now this can go from here to here to here, and then finally it's released. Though so I did not go into the manufacturing facility that much. Occasionally I did, and we'd wear the bunny suit and we get in and all. Now here's the reason I'm telling you about all this is, here's the thing about semiconductors. Even the tiniest little particle of dust will destroy the semiconductor, because or the chip, because the circuitry is so tiny and so fine. Tiny little dust will short circuit those circuit, the wiring, and then the entire chip fails and you have to throw it away. A lot of people don't know that the yield, manufacturing yield, is around maybe 50% or so. Like, so they in that industry, they throw away 50% of the chips they make. It may be better nowadays. I'm not sure, because it's been a while since I've been in that industry, but so here's the point I'm getting to. They had to have very high standards for everything, from the air to water to this to that. Everything had to be the highest level of purity. Otherwise, you'll just manufacture stuff that doesn't work and you throw it away. And in India, coming to India now, it's just so sort of the basic facilities are bad. Air is polluted, water is polluted. A lot of times you don't even get electricity. In big cities, yeah, you get electricity, but in small towns, there's a lot of load shedding, right? For hours, light is not there. So, how can we do well with these kind of, you know, infrastructure challenges?
Very good question, Vivek. I think now whatever we were producing as a manufacturer, I think now there's a wave of sustainability. You have heard about it. So sustainability is now becoming a heart of the any manufacturing. So what now UN has decided around about 193 countries, like what we have on the global platform. Some of the countries, like 70 to 80 countries, have come together, and they exactly what you have said, that like most of the waste is going on, how we can optimize the water and energy, and how we can recycle the waste. 50% they are throwing it. So what we have to now, they have defined the sustainability goals into that sustainability committee. They have now there is a big organization called now overall who is focusing on the sustainability, and the UN has formed this 17 goals for all of us. It is starting from no poverty to the overall partnership. So what they have divided, like what they have done, they have categorized all these goals into the people. Some of the goals are toward the people, how they have to work for that, and how we can ensure the planet is secure, basically for our next generation. How we can plan the future should be secured for our young generation also. One is that, and then how we can bring the prosperity. These are some goals for that, and know how the business can be grown in that direction. Another one is like how we can bring the peace into that direction and partnership. These are the 5 pillars they have decided. Under that scenario, if we do the manufacturing, then we along with the technology like AI, I'm seeing that. So I can say that like a AI now become like a brain, and the sustainability will be the heart, and then the SDGs are giving us the direction how to run the overall manufacturing show. So this is now well-defined procedure for all of us if we are focused on that.
Well, my question was also about the general lack of quality Like for example, in the semiconductor situation, now we needed the purest air. Actually, their filtration systems. Let me tell you an interesting thing. Why do you've seen what we call those bunny suits, right? Why do we wear those? When we are in the manufacturing facility for semiconductors, why we are wearing that whole outfit? The answer is to protect the chips from us, because at a microscopic level, even though I'm not sweating, I'm actually releasing dead skin cells, hair, tiny particles of water, and all that gets into the atmosphere and contaminates it and falls on the chip and short circuits the chip. So we have to we cover ourselves top to bottom in that suit just to protect the chips from us. I mean, and that's the level of purity that's needed. So the air goes through a very heavy filtration system and all sorts of, So, but in India, when you look at it, I mean, look at the level of pollution in Delhi and Bombay. The water is contaminated. What can be done to, because, and not just semiconductors, a lot of other precision industries will require very high quality of all of that, right? So how to do that? The government pretty much controls all of that. It's not even private. I guess the government has to make sure all the quality of all of that improves, the infrastructure improves.
Yeah, Vivek, you are very correct on this. Like that's why ISO and the IEC standard organizations are coming into picture. For every type of a manufacturing, they have some discipline how to work in that shop floor. Like you are saying that some ways to be taken about when all the chips to be taken care in a value quality manner. So everything has to defined into the like the ISO and the IEC standard pattern. Like we take example of the manufacturing, there is a ISO 50,000, which tells about like how the energy can be utilized into that your all the management system you can manage. So similarly, for all type of manufacturing, we have a operation standards also. We have a how to get the production in an optimized manner, in a qualitative manner. So all these standards are enabling us to follow those as per the norms or the type of the industry. Like semiconductor, you are focusing on, I think it is purely quality driven industry, because a lot of things are dependent on the most of the data will be flowing through that chips also. So the how overall on data machine will operate it, all the electrical box it has to be operated. So all chips has to be taken care very carefully. So based on these standards like 22,001 and your 50,001, and you have to take care of all the setups and how you have to produce for that. So basically we have to already talking to different manufacturers. These organizations have formed a standard, and we should not be leaving these standards at the back of our mind, but we should be resting on the all these. Like I'm giving the example of a sustainability also. They are also working on the standards also. So for everything like them, they are backed with the standards. So ISO and the IEC model is there, all mapping regarding the manufacturing different types, like I told you, automotive and your pharma and your textile. So all these things are well defined in a structure. So all standards have to be followed, and quality is the main focus, which everybody is focusing on that.
Right. And that brings me to an interesting point about quality. I found generally, I mean, obviously it varies from person to person, but generally there's a lack of quality mentality with most Indians and Indian workers, right? And there's this kind of kaise bhi kam karke nikal jao sort of thing. And that just won't do anymore nowadays. And I'm facing that in software as well. I'm doing for my own software startup, which is an app. I am doing the QA quality control. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Before we continue, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about something I'm really excited about, my startup app, Finitee. Are you tired of scrolling endlessly and still feeling disconnected? That's why I created Finitee. It's not just another social app, it's your connection engine. With Finitee, you can instantly discover events, hangouts, and people around you who actually share your vibe. Post about what you love. Be seen by people who get it and turn online into offline. Finitee isn't just social. It's real, it's local, it's you. Download Finitee today and live your vibe. Testing myself, focus on quality is not generally there in the psychology only of the people I'm finding. So maybe I'm wrong, but I was wondering, have you run into that in your own experiences in manufacturing? You know, that kam chalo style.
No, but previously it was there, Vivek. I think now the scenario is not allowing us to bypass all those quality parameters
Okay.
because customer is very focused, and now there are a number of tools. You are bypassing all those qualities. There are a number of tools. Those who are taking it, they immediately can tell you where you have lagged into that quality parameter.
Then all your ISO and all that.
Yeah, yeah. So no, basically all quality parameters during the banana, they are ensuring that the continuous audit is happening. So they have a agile mechanism when they are producing. So continuous checks are there whether it is meeting that parameter. Because if you take an example of a textile, what is the thread you are preparing into a spinning mill? At the winding section, they are checking the twist per count, like what is they have created and what is the strength of that thread, that quality it is passing. Then they will pass for the fabric. Otherwise, they will scrap. Again, it will go into the production. So now everybody is now focusing on the quality, and previously it was there. Previously it was there. Like to achieve the production target, everybody was not just compromising with the quality parameters. But now there's no scope. Customer is very much aware, and they can if you are bypassing, and if you, by chance if you are able to sell that, immediately you will get the feedback like you are not focused on the quality. Even now, customer is also taking some of the manufacturer and the buyers, but they are now you will be surprised to know that they are also saying that they're checking the certificates. Are you a water consumption conscious? And they're checking on all the sustainability parameters, which is relevant to the if you go for SDG goal number 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, and 13, these are all related to manufacturing. So they are checking that like how you are focused towards the water consumption, how you are focused towards the energy consumption, how you are utilizing your waste. If you are just throwing your waste, and then you are not a competitive manufacturer over there, how you are recycling that, how you are helping the world to secure for that. So I think quality is in the previous days it was little bit compromised, but nowadays I must say that based on my experience, customer is very proactive and he can tell you in advance. So once your product is out, you have to show that like whatever I thought I have taken care of. Now I have to receive the feedback only. But whatever is there in the picture, it should be compliance to that, all those standards and going through that. So quality now much more awareness is there as compared to the previous year. But for the last 10 years, quality conscious, every step is being focused on.
No, that's good to hear. That's great.
Yes.
I had a question about just in time. Just in time manufacturing and keeping minimum inventories, that sort of thing. So, how is that? Is that being adopted a lot? And where does India stand on that compared to other countries?
This is the area which we have to improve on that, because now we think too much on the production. Like now we should not be facing the, because we always think about the future in such a way like now later on if some shortage will be there in the like I take example of spinning, and like in the future I should not be having the shortage of cotton over there. So I store a lot of cotton into my inventory. So similarly, in the machine manufacturer also, all parts are being taken into the inventory. But just in time, it is now on the focus. Everybody is planning the production in that scenario. Like as per the orders, they are planning the inventory automatically. And now in this, like SAP is helping us a lot. What are the planning orders you have received? Accordingly, the SAP supply chain is now automatically controlling the inventory over there. So you're very right. Just in time, now you're using the different tools which is helping us to inventory optimize.
I also was wondering about automation and robotics. Now, I have an interesting story about this. I first saw robots in action again almost 40 years ago because of my father. He was sent to Japan as while he was in Voltas for some collaboration with a company called Fanuc. And Fanuc, we traveled to outside Tokyo, close to Mount Fujiyama, to their manufacturing plant, and I saw robots in action in the assembly. I mean, this is like 40 years ago. So you can
40
imagine.
years back.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
and not that long ago, about 15 years ago in America, I had a tour of the beer manufacturing company. The company's name is Anheuser-Busch. Their brand labels are like Miller, Miller Lite, Budweiser, which are very famous beers. And so they had a large manufacturing plant in Los Angeles area, and just for a nominal fee, they let you tour it. And what I found amazing was they're making maybe 1 million gallons of beer a day, completely automated. The factory is huge, and like the factory extend as far as the eye can see. But when you look around, you don't see any people. There's almost no employees. I asked the person also, the tour guide, how many people are there? He said maybe like 11. So a company that is gigantic is being run by just like 11 people, and everything was automated. Like all these bottles of beer are whizzing by. Like the assembly line was moving at like 35 miles an hour, like that speed, zoom, 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 everything was going, and you could hear the beer like flowing in these large pipes on top, and like it was amazing. It was just one of the most incredible things I'd seen. Just having said all of that, is there anything comparable here?
Yeah, yeah. Most of things are now, like, I told you earlier also, most of the manufacturers are now thinking about how the repetitive tasks can be minimized at a human level. That is a one thing. If you see textile industry now, lot of it's basically running on the spindle wise to prepare the yarn over there, and how they are optimizing. There are a lot of breakages over there. How it can be handled automatically to plug in and then move forward. So they are minimizing with the help of all the automatic chains. Like if something has to be carried from one place to the another machine, so all the spindles, like when the bobbin makes up, it automatically transport to the another section, like from one place to another place. So all the jars are also moving automatically like this. So they are minimizing the effort in terms of wherever the human was involved. That time, every manufacturer, those who are the big players, they are thinking on like how they can optimize the overall efficiency into the industry. Like and then I had learned some mantra for manufacturing. Like implement all those systems which can increase your productivity, like in terms of a time and the product. Secondly, how you can minimize the waste into that direction, so you can be a very good player into the overall manufacturing. Because if there's a lot of wastage, you are destroying some other environment also. Third, how you are optimizing the air and quality parameters to improve the production. That is also affecting the because every step which I am telling you, it is linked with the sustainability also. And how you can take care of your quality parameter, which you are very well focused on that. So one of the major parameter in the production, it is now becoming an essential parameter. Whatever the product you are maintaining, either it's a semiconductor chips also, or a yarn also, or any automotive sector also, quality parameter is now inbuilt to the process now. And lastly, like how you have to reduce the maintenance cost and the duration. So that is the overall scenario. So in nutshell, if I will say that, okay, how you can increase the productivity. Secondly, how you can reduce the waste. Third, how you can optimize the air and power, air and power utilization. And fourth one, how you can increase the quality parameters, and how you can reduce the maintenance cost and the duration. So these are the five mantras which manufacturing following that. And you're very right. Automation, we have now started, and it is now, I'm telling you, in the next 2 to 3 years, you will see that, like, the butter you are giving example, you will see in India as well. Because the only two things are there. We have a capability. The things we have to focus on the speed and the scale. That we will done, because infrastructure is there now. I should thank now overall the government planning and the policy which they have done. Now everybody is geared up, so they are now following on those steps, and they are running. They are ready to start. Already, some of the players have playing a very good role in that. And I will. It will not be fair that to name some of the industries, but some of the big players are focusing on all these standards, and they are moving forward with these five mantras.
Beautiful, beautiful, great.
Yeah.
So are foreign companies and the rest of the world recognizing this about India?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, they are now recognizing it, and they are now relying on the India manpower, basically in terms of infrastructure, like global capability center. I have now given you example, and a lot of policies are there for the internal manufacturers. They can take a leverage of that. But now global is becoming a overall infrastructure what we have created, it will be becoming a attraction for everybody in the MNC type of things. They are now trying to poke into our area and how we can support them. And now they are finding it like India can be a better player for us too in terms of infrastructure, resources, young minds. That is the attraction we are now getting it. And plus, now the infrastructure is also up to the now overall expectation of the global. I think we should enable that whatever the government has given a facility now. So it will be good into going forward. That is the overall scenario.
Do you think any kind of partnership with foreign companies can help India, or not so much?
Uh, uh, some way it can help like them now. I think recently now whatever things are now the turbulence is there in the politics. I think you must have experiencing that like, what they are talking about, and most of the big players at the top now over a global level, they are thinking to set up their plants into India, and most of the big countries are also now trying to shake hand with India. How we can go together to form a good base for the manufacturing. I think in the coming 5 years, manufacturing will be the main attraction for the global, all the countries. India will be the at some place, a respectable place to do the manufacturing.
Cool, cool, cool. Talking about the turbulence, the geopolitical uncertainty now, what can India take advantage of that, Sama? What steps can India take to take advantage of the current
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we know that like now, which the world is also experiencing from India. India is now enabled with a good infrastructure, good technology, and more on the top of everything, we have a very good young generation base, which is creating a lot of difference on the platform, and which is the attraction of every global company, because now Indian minds are coming very strong, and if you see that digital adoption in India is at number one.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
that is the speed what we have shown the last 5 years. I think with the induction of all the awareness and the promotion programs which our Prime Minister Modi has created for that, I think it has enabled all of us to show that okay, we are very digital savvy population over here, and which is helping us to understand the things in a very better way. So that is one like a young generation digital adoption and the infrastructure what we have taken now base what we have created. I think it will be helping attract global players to partnership with us and go forward. Like Tesla is now aiming for that, Apple is aiming for that. I think now most of the big good base into the south and north. I think good companies are coming now. Uh, so that is the overall. You're right, Ratkem. Most of the global players are now trying to shake hand with the other for the partnership, and which we are also open. Yeah.
Right. What about the labor in India, like the people and their skills? Now, education in India is, if you don't count the IITs and BITS, Pilanis, and so on, it's actually quite substandard, right? Especially compared to US, UK, and also on. So, did you face problems getting the right talent and enough of the right talent and, training them?
Yeah, it is no very now core.
If you come into the like how we can improve ourselves, skilling is the main factor, because the labor which is working in the industry, they because at the moment like if you take example of a automotive or any textile or any other company, those who are actually working the shop floor, they are the real people who are working on this scenario, and you know, for them the skills have to be updated. This is a challenge for all of us. But now looking at this scenario, most of the companies are now creating a academia on the industry 4.0 within the industry itself. So that is helping, because now previously what we were doing, then any new technology was coming, we were asking our labor to experience that and give us a feedback for that. Now it is coming from both the sides, from top to bottom and bottom to top. Now everybody is now like a mobile adoption. Think of that scenario like 20 years back where we were. Now without a mobile, can you think of that in a manufacturing scenario? The day will now come that, like, without these standards, without this adoption of the technology, you will be left behind, and you will those who are not ready to adopt this culture, AI and the AI agents and the infrastructure planning, I think they will be feeling that very soon they will be out of the race. So we will have to really focus as a academia into the manufacturing domain itself. So most of the big players have already run their skill center, continuous trainings are there, and they are realizing the overall labor. And basically now they think that this is the way of a life in the manufacturing. We have to learn these techniques. I think now the that mode is changing now. They are converting their feelings and their expertise on the machine to into a structured way of operation.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. I myself run into this kind of issue with my software side also. Okay, you know, even though they may, for example, know programming, they aren't, like, the English is poor, so I have to go and correct that and stuff like that. So uh, it- it's the just the getting, and even the entire journey of that I had to uh, hire and fire a lot before I got the correct people. And have you experienced similar thing that you have to have a lot of turnover before you get the right people?
I think if you have the example which you have taken as a programmer, like that, that's like the coding of the scenario. I think having a even poor English also, but if you are clear in concepts, what exactly to be done, it doesn't matter whether you know the English very well or not. There are enough platforms like AI chatbots are there now. They can tell you how to program, how to code for that, and that is the like now the world is focusing on clarity of the concept, and tools are there to move forward. So we are not now. At this moment, if somebody thinking about like firing of the a person who are not knowing much, I think that is a very crucial step which now manufacturer or owner has to see that. Uh, I think now there are enough technology. We should have a manpower or a force at our place which can we more adapted to the new technology. That is the only thing we have to see that. If they are not ready to learn all those techniques, naturally they are not the right people on the platform. So if you say that labor sensitive and you are knowledge sensitive, I think manufacturers are now gearing up not only to the product outcome, but they are thinking of all the people environment also, like how they can people, process, and technology. These are the three towers which they are focusing on. How people can be grown, how the process can be improved, and how the technology can be adopted by using these all these technologies. So this is the overall manufacturing setup model which is focusing on the I told you in this MES that scenario. If you take example of perfect running of the manufacturing domain, there's example of a MES, manufacturing execution system. It is part of a manufacturing operation management, which works on the model of a ISA 95. So it tells you how to operate, how to define the KPIs, how to get the production of each and every section over there. So ISO 2001, it is telling you how can basically you can form the KPI of every section. So basically, overall, the structure what we have in place, if we are very focused on the manufacturing, rely on these standards, follow these standards, and give the output as accordingly. So, like I told you, the main is all things are back: people, process, and technology. We think three things have to be focused parallelly. Is no tower is less focused. I think three towers are equally important, and it has to be complemented of each other.
So in India, what would you say? Which tower is the weakest and which is the strongest out of these three? People, process, technology. Which one is
Yeah,
weakest? Which is strongest? Just
very good
curious, I
feeling.
guess.
Yeah, yeah. As per my feeling, like we are very good and at the people level and the process level. Uh, so technology, and if we get good technology, and then we can move forward very fast. So we have a very good strength on the process and the people skills.
Really? Wow. If I were to answer the question in the world of software, it's the opposite. Because technology, you know, everyone's, or then you can just download the latest compiler, learn the latest language. But the process, people are lazy about the process. And I've myself been a process, focused on it, gained expertise on it, gained certifications on software processes, not manufacturing processes, but software processes. So it's always, I have to try and get people to follow the process. They have this kind of just do it any which way and do it kind of attitude instead of following the process. And people, of course, for me is the weakest. But that has been my experience, especially as a
Oh,
startup. As a startup, it's been the opposite,
okay.
interestingly.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay. No, but now, as per the experience, you will see that now increase. Just see the rate of a digital adoption, which we have proved to the world that we are the number one. And because if we understand the technology, we are the first one to adopt immediately. So India rate of grasping and using the technology is very faster than the other countries.
That's why I said, no, technology for me is the highest,
Yeah.
and people the weakest, and process in between. Process also pretty weak,
Okay,
but
okay.
that's just my experience. So, Sudhir ji, you've praised the government and for its policies and all of that, but is there anything they can do more? Like, if you could suggest to them something, what would it be to make things even better?
I think if no, in the manufacturing domain, and my only request to the policy makers, like the whatever the reforms we have, that we have to speed up, and overall you remove the friction into that the policies, like whatever we have built into that. So most of the things the manufacturers are going down because of the policies, and they are not running into the profits. So policies, I think the my humble request to all the policy makers, they should focus on the speed of the reforms and remove the friction. So that is the one request. And to all the manufacturers, what they are aiming to produce, they should use the technology as maximum as they can, because adapting a MES and skill your people, which we have discussed in detail, I think it will be a more added advantage to come at the higher level. So that is to the manufacturers and to the entrepreneurs. What we are now, as per my experience, because I'm interacting with number of entrepreneurs, like how they are thinking, and they are, when we're discussing on the digitalization, and they are now very much focused on the okay, suggest us on the that overall platform, which is like a quite a global standards from day one.
Right.
Not from like I start, okay, I will adopt the standards later on. Now entrepreneurs are very focused, suggest us all those standards which is now applicable from day one. Then we will be catching our speed accordingly. So my only message to all the, as per my experience, the factory of the future will not be another. I think now we have to, if I to convert that sentence, uh, we should bring the factory to the people, not people to the factory. Wherever you are, I think basically it is helping you to understand the overall factory concept, and then your system should be so much enabled, so it should run on an automated mode, and it will be like the in punchline is like bring factory to the people, and people should be using the data from where anywhere in the world. So that is the overall message which you have to. So policymakers, manufacturers, and entrepreneurs. These are the three punchline which as per my experience, which I feel that.
Mhm. But talking about entrepreneurs, I think one big difference of entrepreneurs between software and hardware of manufacturing is, um, but even before I say that, what I'd say is one big difference between software and hardware is software, you can change the lines of code. So let's say you've written raw code, you can change it. I mean, obviously there's time and money involved in that, but you can do that. Whereas manufacturing, once you manufacture the wrong thing, it's very difficult to fix it. Usually you have to just throw it away. Especially in the case of semiconductor chips, all you can do is throw them what if they're defective. So, but having said that, also so that's one challenge entrepreneurs face in manufacturing entrepreneurs, as well as I think initial cost is also quite high. You know, as compared to software. In the beginning, for software, you can all you need is a laptop, and you're good to go. But then, of course, the costs rise quite quickly because once the programmers are programming away and you're paying the salary, then the costs add up month after month. But I think for a manufacturing startup, like startup cost is very, very high.
Very, very high. Yes.
Even for a small manufacturing, like semiconductor, to forget it. That's one of the big reasons I switched from semiconductors to software is that because it was just forget even startup. There were only very few companies doing semiconductors. Making a high-end chip and semiconductor chip is very, very, very difficult. And you need a multi-billion-dollar company. You need all this purity. You need extremely skilled staff. And only few countries in the world were doing it. Back when I was uh, working, only the USA, Germany, and Japan were significant players in the semiconductor world. What is fascinating now is that all three have kind of gone down. It's more Taiwan and China now that is the
Hmm.
most current players. The first, even while I was working, Germany actually kind of basically failed, and the plant shut down. So anyway, coming back to entrepreneurs, what advice do you have for manufacturing entrepreneurs given these challenges?
Uh, I think investment like whatever we are planning to do into this the big setups. I think most of the entrepreneurs are having a very good mechanism of that when they are coming at the ROI, well, like whatever they will calculate, and then they are thinking that on the market study and overall technology adoption, and if the ROI is within 2 to 3 years, I think that is the main thing which they are focusing on. I'm talking about the textiles and automotive, whatever the investment they are doing it. I think getting the output within 2 to 3 years, basically, and ROI, if they are getting it, and plus if they are getting the ROAE also, like a return of experience. So together ROI and the ROE, if you work together into that scenario, I think minimum is a 5 year time, like now, which we can establish yourself. So if entrepreneurs having that scope of with the help of a policy and the investment is in plan, then they should move forward in that direction. So it's not only that okay, what money you are putting into, you have to check the customer experience also. That's why ROI and the ROE is there, which is there to measure that where we stand at. So two of them, if you are focused parallelly, I think they can very well get the overall production as a entrepreneur what is thinking it off.
Okay, okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, we're pretty much out of time now. So, thank you very much, Sudhirji. Did you have any final words of advice for any of the viewers or anything? And
Yeah, yeah. I think now whatever the efforts we have made so far, we are very much on that track. Policy and infrastructure is supporting us, and some of the feedback which I've already given for that, like to the policy makers and the to manufacturers and the entrepreneurs, if we work on that, and now whatever the things are there now, manufacturing is like going to be a main catalyst for our India, and it will be very soon. You will see that like by I'm target. I'm basically I'm now as per my experience, I'm able to see that whatever we are doing, I think it is in the right direction. Only thing we have to speed and scale it up. And then ultimately, which we always say that, which is the mantra of our Prime Minister also, where the factory of the future should be like them, make in India, managed by India, and trusted by the global world. So that is the overall message which he is giving. I think now most of the fraternity into the manufacturing, I think they are already focusing on those scenarios. So follow the systems and the policy and policy may now all the partnership which you have specially focused partnership also. This will help us a dedicated deep diving into sessions. That is the overall scenario.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I hope you, the viewers, enjoyed this podcast. Sudhirji's information is going to be in the description below the video. And please like and comment on the videos. Let's have a lively discussion on everything that was discussed. And other than that, thank you very much, Sudhir,
you.
for joining us. And
Thank you. Yeah, thanks Vivek for giving me the opportunity to share my views on the manufacturing. And, I think whatever the discussion we have done, it's practically giving a lot of lessons, and we have to learn more into going forward. Thank you for this. Thank you so nicely.
Okay.